Hey everyone, I'm Mitch Durfee, #1 best-selling author, real estate investor, business entrepreneur, and I'm here and I want to drop as many value bombs as I possibly can on you in order for you to grow your business, invest in real estate, or network and build your career to an even higher level. I want to make sure you stick around, so stay to the very end because I'm going to give you something at the end of this that's literally going to blow your mind, and it's a gift from me to you, so make sure you stay to the end.
You who pursue excellence at such an enormous level and actually attain it. Mitch Durfee, CEO, best-selling author, keynote speaker, business coach, realtor, and veteran, has built an empire of business and now coaches, provides mentorship, and the advice you need to ensure success in your life. Founder of Grunts Move Junk, Green Rock Investments, and online startup Box, Mitch Durfee has constructed and created a lasting empire with lasting impact and devotion to your success. A believer in education, wealth creation, and knowledge development, Mitch Durfee is the mentor you need and the mentor you want on your team. Learn more at MitchDurfee.com. That's MitchDurfee.com.
First things first, if you're talking about generating value, I want to make sure that you take whatever it is that you would say that your time is worth and write that number down on a piece of paper right now. So if you are worth $100 an hour, write down $100 an hour. If you're worth $10 an hour, write down $10 an hour. If you're worth $1,000 an hour, write down $1,000 an hour. Because again, I want to make sure that I deliver 10 times the value in 1 hour of your time. Now, this is important to me because, again, when you're talking about being in business, you have to figure out ways to leverage your time to the most highest amount possible. Now, there are several different ways to do this. Technology is one, and using Teams is another. But I'm going to break this down into 2 or 3 different categories. 1 is real estate, 2 is business, and the 3rd will be networking. But most importantly, you have to start with being in business for yourself if you want to generate a massive amounts of wealth for yourself. Now, whatever that means is even if you're working at a job right now, then the first thing that you should consider is figuring out some sort of side hustle. Now, there's a lot of different options when it comes to side hustles. You know, real estate could be an avenue, even driving for Uber if you want to make a couple extra bucks, or figuring out some kind of affiliate program, whether it's Herbalife or some other industry that generates income passively while you sleep. Now again, going back to business, this is why I am such a huge advocate of owning your own business. Now me personally, I've started several companies, from web design to advertising to a moving company that I franchised and grew across the state that I sold to even a mechanic shop. Now, the reason I'm in so many businesses is because I'm such an advocate for this and I build teams that help me grow. So although people always ask me, how do you do it? How do you find the free time? The secret really is building teams that can allow me to grow while I'm sleeping, whether that means people that are in office or remote. The people that I surround myself with are still continuing to keep the ball moving when I'm not doing it. So if I have an idea that generates income, sometimes I just pass that ball off to someone else on my team, and then they will take that and they'll continue to work on it for 4 to 10 to 20 hours or sometimes weeks before they get back to me and say, hey, this project is complete. Now, again, when you're in business, if you can figure out the secrets to leveraging that time so that other people are able to carry the task moving forward, you're trading 1 hour of your time for 10, 20, 30, or 40 hours of someone else's time. Just like when I asked you, write down whatever your hour's worth, I'm going to 10x that for you today. I'm going to share everything that I possibly can with you to make sure that you are getting as much value. All right, now let's just assume that you have a business or you're in business and it's a small business, maybe 10 employees or less, 20 employees or less, or you have a business idea and you're thinking about getting started. Let's start with the fundamentals. If your business is not online, it's not a matter of if your competitors will beat you, it's a when they will. Because if you're not online in 2018, 2019, or even 5 years from now, if you're not on line where you can actually look at your phone or mobile device and someone can find your website, then there's no way you're ever going to be able to compete with any other business out there. It'll literally, in a flash of a second, another business will come, they'll see your idea, and they'll take it and they'll digitize it. Now, the second they're able to do that, your business is obsolete because people are looking on their phone. 83% of people visit a website before actually contacting a business. So even if they heard of you or they know that you're doing amazing things in your business, they're looking for you online first. And this is why I started one of my businesses, Online Startup Box. Now, when I first started my other business, Grunts Move Junk, I had a company that I knew I had to be digitally. And I built websites in the past, but what I was trying to do is I tried to hire a company that would actually so I could outsource this so I could focus on growing the company. And I hired a really, really bad web design company. Now, I'm guessing we've all been burned by a contractor or a web design company, or maybe it's just a retail store. But one of the things that I want to remind you of is just because you hired a bad carpenter doesn't mean they're all bad carpenters. You know what I'm saying, right? Just because you had one person that did work for you and they didn't do a great job doesn't mean everyone else out there in the world is bad. So if you've ever been burned by a digital marketing company in the past, well, then definitely reconsider. Just be a little more cautious going in. Make sure you ask more questions. Make sure you have experience and that you can test their experience and that you can actually get the results from them. So again, the reason I started Online Startup Box was because there was way too many businesses around me that just did not have a digital presence. And in order for my other company to be successful and grow into multiple states, I needed a team that was able to design and build websites, which came from my ideas and my vision in my head, and they could actually design this website around the different things that I wanted to integrate into it, which allowed me, again, to have a 24/7 sales agent. So if you're in business and you don't have a website, that means you're missing out on multiple hours in the day that you are not generating sales when you could be scaling, or just like, even if you take a vacation, right? Your website is still producing leads and generating business for you. So that's why I literally say if you're trying to figure out how to make more money or start a company, you got to start with a website. You have to get a digital presence. Now, even if you can't get a website, one of the other things you can do is just start off with social media profiles. They're free. You can create a Facebook business page and you can drive some traffic there. Now again, if this was 5 years ago, you'd have all kinds of traffic. Unfortunately, Facebook has made this a pay-to-play game. So if you're considering a website or considering a Facebook page, no matter how you do it, you're going to have to pay to get into the water now. People are not going to see your message on Facebook like they used to do 5 years ago. So just because you create a business Facebook page doesn't mean you're going to get business like just the second you flick the switch, or even on Instagram or on Twitter or Pinterest or whatever social media channel that you choose to use. It's almost like a requirement now. So just like having a website will be like in the future for your business success, having social media presence and posting content on there so your fans and friends can engage with you, it's going to be almost a requirement in order for you to be successful. Now, one of the other things in business that I always preach besides a digital presence is it's very easy to get your business on Google. You can actually just go to Google and just type it in, Google My Business, and create a Google business landing page. That way, if people are searching for your company online, you'll at least have some sort of record there. I highly encourage you to do that no matter what business you are in. You have to do that if you haven't done that immediately. Again, people are looking for you online. Make sure you are there to answer their call or have your website take that 24/7 sales agent for you. Now, the second part of business, besides having a digital presence, is having a team that can support you behind the scenes. Now, for example, my job and responsibility is to make these videos. Now, after I'm done completing these videos, I send it off to my team where they'll edit it, they'll add different features and clips, and they'll make all these great, awesome visual things for you guys to stay captured and engaged, so that way everything is smooth. There's no way for me possibly in this world to be able to film as much content as I possibly do and also edit it on the back end. And that's why I use a team whenever it comes to producing videos. Now, again, just like in my business when I'm coaching and consulting businesses, I wouldn't expect my social media manager team to know how to take a business from $100,000 a year to $1 million a year. Now, that's one of my responsibilities in my company, but there are different tasks that I can hand off to them, including cleaning out my inbox or the junk emails and things like that. I also have a sales team that can answer a lot of my calls for me. So that way when they have a good qualified lead and they're ready to work with me to help them grow and scale their business on a one-to-one coaching basis, my time is focused on them and their success and not focused on the back end. Just like when I first started my business, one of the other tasks that I outsourced immediately was checking my mail. There was way too many junk letters coming in. There was way too many things that just did not need my attention. So I put that task on one of the other team members that I hired in my organization. So what I want you to do right now is the second task that I want you to do is just write down a list of things that you could outsource, whether it's someone for an hour a week, maybe 5 hours a week, or just consider someone maybe doing a task remotely. Is there something that you could possibly do to block up and free more of your time? Again, it could be mail. It could be checking your email. It could be, sending off, sales letters or marketing or printing flyers. Whatever it may be, think of something in your business that you don't actually have to do that you could outsource. Let's go back. Let's reference the dollar per hour time that we wrote down earlier. If your time is worth $100 an hour, can you hire someone to do that task for less than $100? If the answer is yes, then you found a way for you to leverage more of your time. Now let's just for example, say you took 1 hour of your time and you took that task and you gave it to someone else. If 1 hour of your time is worth $100 and their time is worth $50, and it could take them 2 hours to do it, and you'll still be in better shape than you spending 1 hour of your time to do it. Now, do you see where we're going with this? This is called scalability in your business. When you have teams that can take off the tasks off your plate, you're able to scale your business and organization much larger. Again, maybe you have 5 people on your team or 10 people on your team. If you block out different tasks for them and set goals for them, they're going to be able to carry the weight of the workforce forward without you being there to make sure that the ball is still continuing to roll without your input. Now, so you have a digital presence and you have an amazing team. So what's your job after you have your digital presence, your websites, your social media marketing, your ads are running, and you have a team that's answering your sales calls, they're editing your videos, they're sending out your emails, they're doing all these digital things for you, or actually doing the tasks for you. So what's your job become at that point? Now, this is when things really get exciting, because at this point, you're actually going to step away from your company, and your job or your responsibility becomes more innovation. Like, how can you fine-tune things to make sure things are running smoother in your company? Now, this is also exciting because you'll actually have more free time than you could ever imagine. And sometimes what you're going to find is you're actually going to step back into your business and mess things up just so you have something to do. Now, I definitely encourage you not to do that. So if you find that you're getting that your time is actually freeing up and you actually can step away from your company, make sure you're spending time with the key members on your team that are either your office managers, your team leaders, your crew leaders. Spend time with those people to make sure that your company is still going in the right direction with the right vision. So, how do you scale your business besides having a website and besides having a team? Now, usually, when I come into a business, I usually ask, there's only 3 things that really scale up businesses, and I want you to write these down. Again, my grandfather always told me, a dull pencil is still better than a sharp mind. Have it in front of you. All right, so here's the thing. There's only 3 things that scale a business. If you want to increase your revenue, like your bottom line, by 10%, you can just raise your prices in your business. So sometimes people, when I say that, people usually get this anxiety feeling like I'm already charging the max I could possibly be charging for my business or my service or my product. There's no way anyone will ever pay more for this. It's actually interesting. Most people never or ever complain about the price. What they're actually complaining about is the value that they're receiving. So if you're raising your price by 10%, is there a way to add 10% more value so that you can actually justify that price raise in your company? Maybe it's just adding in a little trinket. Maybe it's upsizing your product. Whatever it may be, if you raise your prices by 10%, that's a direct you're literally going to add 10% to your bottom line. So if your product is $100 and you start charging $110, you're now making 10% more in your company. So start with sales, right? Raise your prices, add more value. That's the secret to getting a higher and more a more income generating business. Now, the second thing that generates business is referrals. If I come into your business and I usually ask, the same questions, what are you doing in order to get more referrals from the customers that are already using your service? Well, a lot of people don't have any kind of referral strategy, but yet it's funny, going back to the carpenter message we were talking about before, we always ask a carpenter, well, how do you get a lot of your business? And they almost always consistently will say, well, we get a lot of referrals. But yet they're not rewarding those customers for referring them. They're not doing anything to stay in front of their customers to encourage them to refer them. They're literally, it's just out of the goodness of that customer's heart, they're taking time from their day to say, hey, listen, you should go work with so-and-so because they're a great person. Well, the interesting thing is, again, if you want to add 10% to your bottom line, just add 10% more referrals to your business. Very simple. Literally, if you just get your customers to refer you and you stay in front of them. Now, let's just talk about 3 or 4 different simple ways for you to get more referrals from your customers. One of them is an email campaign. If you get their email information, you can actually send out an automated email to them, once a month, maybe 2 times a month, asking for a referral. The second way is incentivizing them. Right? So if I wanted more customers and I already did business with you, then if I sent you, whether it was a gift or maybe a Starbucks gift card, or I sent you just a thank you note or a discount on your next service, whatever it may be, if I incentivize you to refer a customer to me, you're more likely to actually go out of your way to do it. Because again, people don't do things people will do things, out of their goodness of their heart, but most people in this world are looking for their next, thing. What benefits them? What's the benefit to them in referring your business? Now, again, just by incentivizing them with a simple $10, $20 gift card, that could be enough. And sometimes, depending on the price point of your product, it could be all the way up to 50% of your product discount. So again, we have sales that generates more income in your business, and we have referrals that generates more income in your business. And the third thing, again, repeat customers, right? So you have more sales, you have more referrals, and then you also have to generate more repeat customers. So the highest cost in your business is generally the first customer acquisition. This customer has no idea who you are. They have no idea what you're capable of. They don't know that you're able to take their business from where it is now to generating over $1 million in sales. They don't know that all these incredible things that you do because they've actually never discovered you. For example, one of the things that I do for warming up my customers in the beginning is I'll give them a free book. I'll give away my #1 national best-selling book so that they have time to actually learn who I am, learn about my story, and then I work them through, again, what's called a value ladder. So if I take a customer and I'm driving traffic to the free book, and then I have my free book giveaway, and then sometimes from time to time, depending on how actively or how full my schedule is with current clients or current business customers that I'm working to build their business, I'll offer free coaching and consulting for 15, 30 minutes, a little strategy session to help them unlock or break free from whatever it is that's hanging them up in their business, and then turn them into a client, right? So I'm spending a lot of time in the beginning and money in the beginning to get them to use my services, because again, that's what it's all about. When you're in business, is you have to solve a problem for your customer in order for them to want to do business for you. Now, people only do 2 things. It's either run towards pleasure or run from pain. So if you're able to solve a problem for them or give them a desired result, then they will choose your service all day. Again, going back to this, that's the most expensive part in the customer acquisition journey. So that's why it's important for you to figure out ways to get these customers to do repeat business for you, or do repeat business with you. Now, how do I do it? How do I get customers to do repeat business? Well, a lot of different things. There's a lot of different ways, right? Again, going back to the email. If you have their email or contact information, then you can actually follow up with them and just send out an email. You can automate it. So you just send out your 12, or you type up your 12 emails, and then you set those and you automate them, and you do different promotions and discounts throughout the year, so that way you don't have to recreate this content. Or the second thing you could do is just write them a thank you note, right? Thank you for doing business with me. If you ever want to do business with me again, just let me know. Handwritten thank you note goes a long way, especially if you take the time out of your busy day as the busy business owner to actually make that connection with them. People will resonate with them. Now, one of the other things I do to get repeat business is, of course, just follow up with them, right? Now, when I say follow up with them, don't always be asking for the sale. What I have really, really personally found that works extremely well is if I follow up with them and just check in and see how things are going, whether it was on the past service or if there's just anything else in their life that maybe I can help them with, whether it's using my service or product. But ideally, I'm leading with service, right? I'm looking to serve them and help them solve a problem that they're having right now. And again, if my solution is the best solution for them, then of course I'll give them that solution. But just checking in and staying in touch so you're front of mind will help you generate a lot more business. Now, that's it for business. We covered a lot of things, and I don't want you to get overwhelmed, because again, we have quite a few different things that we're going to talk about here. We're going to cover real estate wealth, and we're also going to cover networking in the next couple sections. And I'm just going to take a quick break here, and then I'll get right back into it. But let's just do a quick recap of where we came from. Look, we covered what your dollar per hour is for your time. Right now, it could be $10 an hour, it could be $50 an hour, it could be $100 an hour, could even be $1,000 an hour. And I promised you I'm going to give you 10 times that value, and some of you I'm going to give you up to $1,000 worth of value. So make sure that you're continuing to follow this, because again, your time is valuable. This is only a 1 hour little training session, and I'm going to give you everything that I possibly can to drop value bombs on you. So we covered your time. The next thing we did was talk about leveraging your time. You can leverage your time by using a digital website, digital marketing presence, in order for you to actually step away and have that 24/7 sales agent work for you. Now, if you want any help with your web design or anything like that, I'll drop a link below, but you can always check out my company, onlinestartupbox.com. Again, we've helped create digital platforms and designs for companies all around the country. And we're invested in your success. We also don't just take on any client. We only take on the people that we actually believe we can provide a result for. Unlike these companies out in Denver or the West Coast that'll just take anyone and they'll run you through their little windmill of service and just dump you out the other side and say, well, if it didn't work, hey, sorry, we teed you up, but that's it. That's all we can do. We're actually going to be there and hold your hand through the whole process and make sure that you guys are successful with your digital marketing presence. Now, the third thing that we covered, after we covered what your time's worth, leveraging your time, and digital marketing presence. Well, the third thing that we covered, we talked about how to grow your business by 30 to 70%, right? 10% more sales, 10% more referrals, 10% more repeat customers. That's 30% in your business. Now, again, these are easy things to do. All you have to do to get more sales is just raise the value, right? Provide more value to your customers. If you want to get more referrals, make sure you set up an automated system to incentivize your past customers to use you or refer you. Again, going into the third phase, get repeat customers. Your customers already did business with you. Make sure they continue to do business with you. They are now a part of your business family. Stay in touch with them. Now, again, going forward from here, we're going to cover one of my favorite, most passionate things, and that's real estate. And I'm going to teach you everything that I possibly know about real estate in the next 10 to 15 minutes.
You who pursue excellence at such an enormous level and actually attain it. Mitch Durfee, CEO, best-selling author, keynote speaker, business coach, realtor, and veteran, has built an empire of business and now coaches, provides mentorship, and the advice you need to ensure success in your life. Founder of Grunts Move Junk, Green Rock Investments, and online startup Box, Mitch Durfee has constructed and created a lasting empire with lasting impact and devotion to your success. A believer in education, wealth creation, and knowledge development, Mitch Durfee is the mentor you need and the mentor you want on your team. Learn more at mitchdurfee.com. That's mitchdurfee.com.
All right, welcome back. I'm excited that you made it back here again. Now, this topic that we're going to cover next is so important to me because it's actually allowed me to travel the world, take vacations of up to 30 days, sometimes even 90 days in a year. Like literally, I'm able to travel much more because I know that I have a fixed income coming in from my real estate investment properties. Now, if this sounds good to you, if you want to be able to take more vacations, have more free time, or even have a fixed income that you know is coming in every single month, then pay attention, because there's so many different aspects of real estate that we could go off on a couple different tangents, but they all will relate to you. I promise you, if you're interested in real estate, there it will be value here for you. So let's dive right in. Before we go too far, I actually have this Facebook group called Real Estate Property Wires. I encourage you to pause the video right now, go over and add yourself to that group if you're interested in real estate. There's a lot of members in there that they are constantly sharing value. They're sharing what's working, they're sharing what hasn't worked, and they're sharing different, like literally hops and skips of knowledge. Like if you're trying to figure this stuff out on your own, that will take years to figure out. This is why in real estate, one of the best pieces of advice that I've ever received is find a mentor. Now, the reason you want a mentor or coach when it comes to investing in real estate is because you're able to avoid the pitfalls and mines that they have stepped in. For example, if you're working with a mentor in real estate and you look at a house for the first time, you walk in the doors and you see a little bit of paint peeling on the walls, and you see some stains on the ceiling. Your expectations could be, oh, maybe it's just old paint, or maybe it's peeling for some reason. But someone that's actually been there and has experience could tell you that that paint could possibly be lead, and there are different things that are actually that you will have to do in order for you to spend lots of thousands of dollars to fix the lead. Now, if it's a stain on the ceiling, that could just be something as simple as a leak that happened either through a pipe or through the roof failing, but it has been fixed, right? So that way you don't get too discouraged and blow out, and say that I don't want this property because there's one little hiccup. Now, in the real estate world, again, for me, I've been investing in real estate for over 12 years. I've been a licensed realtor in the state of Vermont for over 5 years now. And again, I've seen quite a few different things, especially being in the investment side of the realm. Like, I've literally walked into houses and I've seen 60 yards of trash in these houses where people, I have no idea how they're living there. And I've taken these houses and I've flipped them in 48 hours, and I've made $50,000 to $70,000 on a single flip in 48 hours. Now, I'm not saying this happens every single time. Again, one of the other things that I also see is when I'm watching like HGTV, and I'm seeing these people buying these $1 million properties and sinking $200,000 into them just to make a $50,000 to $100,000 return. Now, that doesn't resonate with me, because there's way too much risk, right? You don't want to spend $1 million or $1.2 million to make $100,000. It just doesn't make sense for me. But your goals may be different than my goals in real estate. But all we're really talking about is how to invest in real estate, how to generate some income, how to create a little bit of a wealth strategy. Now, when we dive into real estate, there are 3 things that I look at, and these 3 things are literally the only things that matter when it comes to actually making money with real estate. Now, the first one is on the buy. That's equity, right? So when you buy a property, this is where you're most likely going to make the most amount of money. For example, if a house is listed for $300,000 and you buy it for $250,000, you have $50,000 worth of equity instantly. Now, if you bought a house for $300,000 and you paid $300,000, that's okay too, because there are a couple other different ways that you're going to generate income. But for now, we're going to talk about equity. When it comes to equity, the beautiful thing about the equity, especially on the cash side, is you can actually go to banks, and sometimes you can actually get what's called a home equity line of credit, where they will leverage that $50,000 swing or whatever it is in value that you have in your property from what it's worth, and give you a line of credit so that you can actually buy more real estate. So $50,000 line of credit could actually get you another $200,000 worth of property if you leverage it, if you leverage it the right way. So again, if you continue to do this, like where you have equity and you buy another property and you have equity in that property, you see where I'm going with this? You're actually able to buy much more real estate because of this equity position that you put yourself in with the first buy. Now, if you don't buy it in the best way possible and you don't get the equity in the beginning, there are a couple other ways to generate income and get equity out of it. And that's either through forced appreciation, which means that if it's a rental property and you increase the rent rate, from $1,000 a month to $1,200 a month, you're forcing the value up just by doing a little pencil swipe and generating more equity in the property, because investment properties values are based off the income of the property. Now, the other way to force appreciate it is, of course, renovations. So for example, if you buy a house that's worth $300,000 and you pay $300,000 for it, but you sink in another $50,000 in repairs, and now that property is worth $400,000, you've just also bridged that gap. And we call this the buy and renovate method. Now again, all we're trying to do is get equity into your property so that you can actually leverage this into more deals. So is this making sense? Do you understand why real estate is actually able to generate more income for you? For example, if you did this every year, if you just bought one property a year for under market value or the value of the property, you would be generating that much more income in your life. For me, we bought $1 million property 2 years ago. We bought it for $850,000. So we instantly had $150,000 worth of equity just because we bought the property right. This is, again, on the buy is where you make a lot of the money. Now, there are two other factors when it comes to real estate and generating income, and we're going to cover these real quick. Now, the second one is appreciation. So your house that you bought for $300,000, in 30 years, if the market continues the way that it is, it's likely that that property will double in value. So for example, $300,000 property is now worth $600,000 in real estate, right? Isn't that crazy? So if you bought a property and you only actually put your 5, 10, 15, or 20% down, in 30 years, not only will it be paid off, this property will appreciate in value and it'll double your initial investment. Now again, this is speculative, but at the same time, it's been consistent for a lot of the years. Of course, there was the 2008 that everyone always mentions, but again, that didn't affect me because my properties were rented. My values may have sunk, but they came right back. In fact, Orlando was one of the markets that got hit the worst, and that market is still on fire today. Same thing with Vegas. That market was hit hard, but the values are still back. All right, so again, in real estate, one of the things that people always mention is, when is the best time to buy? Well, of course, the best time to buy was 30 years ago, because of course that property would double in value. Now, if you didn't buy 30 years ago or 10 years ago, don't worry, it's not too late. The second best time to buy real estate is today, because again, in 30 years from now, your property will be doubled in value. It's kind of a no-brainer, and that's why I've been buying as much real estate as I possibly can get my hands on, because the more real estate that I buy today, in 20, 30 years, the more money I will have, and it's generating income for me as just ongoing, consistently, every single month it's happening. Now, the third way that you can generate income with your property besides appreciation and the equity, the third way is principal pay down or cash flow, right? So if you have a rental property and someone's living in that property and your mortgage payment is, say, $2,000 a month, but you're renting that property out for $2,500 a month, well, there's two things that are happening. One, you're making an extra cash flow of $500 a month, which goes right into your pocket, or you can pay your principal down too. But that mortgage payment has a section of it allocated, those funds are allocated to paying down your principal. So that means that if someone's living in your house and you're renting that house to them, you're making money every single month. It's not going in your bank account, but it is going towards your real estate savings account. The principal pay down. We covered this on the appreciation. Again, in 30 years, if you have a 30-year mortgage, in 30 years, your principal will be paid down entirely, and you'll have that value plus the appreciation. Again, real estate is just absolutely crushing it when it comes to generating wealth. This is why most millionaires generated their wealth through real estate. That's why I'm so passionate about it. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, so if you can make money these three different ways in real estate, then why do so many people lose money? Well, what happens is they usually get emotional, right? If they buy a property because it's the perfect home for them and they're not looking at the numbers, well, that's typically one of the things that will go wrong in real estate. The other thing is if they're deferring maintenance, right? These are properties. They don't just last for 30 years. You have to stay up on the maintenance. But if you stay up on the maintenance and the property continues in the well condition that you bought it in, well, again, you're going to generate some income for you. Now, again, the other thing that happens when people lose money on real estate is if they lose their job or career or profession, and that's why, again, I am such a big, huge advocate for owning your own business, because you're in charge of your destiny and success. Now, we already covered how to generate more income in your business, so if you have your own business and you're investing in real estate, then you're good. There's no reason for you to be failing. Of course, we have the support group real estate property warriors that will be able to answer a lot of your questions too. And if you need any other information when it comes to real estate, buying a single family home, a multifamily home, or anything like that, again, like I said, I'm a real estate investor and I'm also a realtor in the state of Vermont, but I also have connections with everyone else around like the country in this real estate market. Like, because I've been around the country, I've traveled around the world a couple times when I was in the military, and I've met a lot of people. So if you're looking at buying a property, in fact, actually in South Carolina right now, one of the guys that was in the Air Force while I was in the Army, he's buying a house with someone that I recommended him to, and I can do that for you too. So if you're thinking about real estate, drop a comment below, and I can put you in touch with an agent in that area that can help you find and discover your dreams when it comes to real estate and real estate investing. Now, covered a lot. Again, that's why I want to make sure that you understand that the Real Estate Property Warriors group on Facebook is there for you and your success. So if you have questions, then definitely I highly encourage you join that group, because they will be able to answer them. And if they're not there and they can't answer it, then I promise you I will be there and I will be invested in your success in that group also. Now, the third thing that we're going to cover next after we come back from a short break is I'm actually going to break down one of the most incredible things for leveraging your time and leveraging your success. And this is networking. Now, when it comes to networking, I don't know if I just discovered like what it was, like that this was the solution to everything, or when that moment happened, but I'll share a story with you on when it clicked for me, and then how actually all the things that I was able to achieve because of the people that were in my network that held me accountable. So stick around.
You who pursue excellence at such an enormous level and actually attain it. Mitch Durfee, CEO, best-selling author, keynote speaker, business coach, realtor, and veteran, has built an empire of business and now coaches, provides mentorship, and the advice you need to ensure success in your life. Founder of Grunts Move Junk, Green Rock Investments, and online startup Box, Mitch Durfee has constructed and created a lasting empire with lasting impact and devotion to your success. A believer in education, wealth creation, and knowledge development, Mitch Durfee is the mentor you need and the mentor you want on your team. Learn more at MitchDurfee.com. That's MitchDurfee.com.
All right, welcome back. I am so excited for this next topic because this is actually what helped me generate the most energy in order for me to reach the success levels that I have. Now, this topic is very important. Again, make sure that if you guys do anything you learn from this one thing and you implement on it immediately. This section is networking, the art of networking. Figuring out who to surround yourself with, spend time with, to get ideas from. All right, so let's go back to when I was much younger and I first realized that your network is actually everything that helps you in your career, profession, your business, just your life in general. The people you surround yourself with will typically be and reflect who you become. All right, so when I was growing up, of course, my family, they all went into the military. So with my dad being in the military, my sister being in the military, my uncles and my grandparents, guess where I ended up? In the military. Now, I am extremely happy that I did do that because it was one of the best experiences of my life, but it also held me back financially from what I was actually able to do. Now, I don't say this to brag or anything like that, but when I first got out of being in the service, I 10x'd the income that I was making just literally within 14 months of just being out of the service. Now, I'm not saying that I wasn't, that I did anything really differently. I just literally all I did was do the same profession, but for myself outside of the military, and I 10x'd my career. Well, here's the deal. What I want you to understand is, whatever situation that you're in now, whatever position, whatever career, whatever life circumstances that you're in, take a look at the people around you and ask yourself, are they supporting you on the decisions that you want to make every day? Are they encouraging you? Are they providing value to you? Are they helping you achieve your goals? If the answer is no, then maybe reconsider who you're spending the most amount of time with. If the answer is yes, then maybe spend more time with these people because they're the people that are going to help you. They're encouraging you. They're supporting you. They're allowing you to reach your best you. Now, again, here's one of the things that I learned as I was growing up. So when I was sitting in Afghanistan on my second tour overseas after my first one being in Iraq, the second time I went overseas, I started to read. I started to get educated because one of the persons that was over there actually gave me a book, and the book was called Think and Grow Rich. Now, every single day I would see him reading his book during the break, so what do you think I did? I modeled him and I started reading also. And I started reading a book, and I've been reading a book every week for the last 5.5 years, and that's allowed me to grow multiple businesses, allowed me to buy real estate, allowed me to just everything in my business. I was able to consume that knowledge from a book, all because of the person that I spent time with. Now, the other thing that I realized when I was overseas was that I got this magazine that came out from the company that I was working for, and when I opened it up and I looked into it, I saw there was some people sitting around at a board table, and then on the next page it had all their salaries broke down. It had their name with their picture, and it had their salaries broke down. And I looked at this picture and I said, what makes this guy different? Why is he he gets to hang out around a board table, and I'm over here in the desert working 12 hours a day, 84 hours a week, and going to school full time, and trading options, and reading, and just getting educated and developing and investing in real estate. I bought a fourplex while I was sitting in the back of an MRAP over in Afghanistan. So all these things I was trying to do to try to get ahead, and I asked myself, I go, what makes this person different than me? And then it just clicked, and it's like, this guy's no different. He puts his pants on the same. He probably goes home and eats 3 meals a day the same. Probably doesn't even go to the gym and work out. But the reason this guy's making, at that time it was $1.5 million. And I looked at it and I'm like, this is insane. This is an insane amount of money. I couldn't imagine making that kind of money at the time because, again, when I was overseas, I wasn't doing that. But it clicked. I'm like, the only reason this guy's on the board is because someone else on that board approved him, right? Someone in that network of people or peers that he surrounded himself with allowed him to get that position. Because if you think about it this way, if you're a carpenter and I ask you for a job, well, then likely you're going to refer me to other carpenters because that's the industry that you're in. If you're in real estate and investing in real estate and I ask you for a job, it's likely that you're going to put me inside that niche. Now, if you're a CEO or executive and we're hanging out and we're spending time together, it's not like you're going to refer me to go work for maybe a fast food channel or anything like that or industry. You're going to recommend that I get some kind of C-level position or again, the people you surround yourself with are likely who you model and reflect. So when that clicked for me, it was kind of like this moment where almost like when everything lights up and it's like everything slows down, and you can kind of picture this moment where it's like everything's clear to you. It's like, okay, whatever I'm doing now is not the right thing because I'm never going to get those results unless I change something immediately. So after finishing Think and Grow Rich, combining that with the fact that these other people had a better network, I realized that I had to change my surroundings. So I left overseas, came back, and I started a business. Starting the business allowed me to grow my finances, allowed me to meet other business owners. And when I met other business owners, this is when the second phase came in, where my network allowed me to achieve my next big goal, which was buying $1 million worth of real estate. Now, this group of business owners, we created a mastermind group. Now, every Thursday at 1 o'clock, we meet and we discuss the challenges and successes that we have achieved during the week, and any hiccups and hurdles or any things that we need help with from the group. It's like our own personal board of directors. So if you've had a challenge in your business or a challenge in your life or a challenge in anything that's going on in your career, well, this is the group that will help you, encourage you, support you, and lead you to success. Now, this group, again, we set goals for each other or with each other and decide whatever it is that we want to work on. And I set the goal of buying $1 million worth of real estate in 12 months. And throughout that journey, they held me accountable every single week until it actually happened. Now, there's a couple reasons why it happened. One, because the network there knew that it was very important to me. But two, because I put in the time and effort and I did the hard work. But these guys, this group of people, these guys and girls in this mastermind group actually held me accountable, right? I said I was going to do it, so they followed up with me weekly, monthly, and said, how are things coming along with your goal? And there was times when I didn't think I was going to reach it, and there was times where I knew I was going to crush it. But the times that I didn't think it was going to happen, they encouraged me, they supported me, they asked me the questions that would allow me to get there. Okay, so your network, right? Going back to your network. Take a look at the 5 closest people around you. Are they supporting you? If you don't have a network, what can you do to find one? Find a network that's going to support you. Even if it's just meeting one new person a day that has some kind of goals aligned with your goals, if you guys can latch onto each other, then you'll be able to reach higher levels together, right? Dreams don't work unless you do. You have to have a team that can support you on fulfilling your dream. All right, going into the second, actually this is the third time that my network around me influenced my life dramatically. The third time was when I went back to this group a year later on New Year's. Again, going back to when I was in high school, I failed my junior year of high school. So going back to like being an author, now it's a mind-blowing experience because I failed my junior year in high school and I didn't read a book for almost 10 years. So when I was in Afghanistan, my network helped me start reading a book. And then my network, when I got back over, when I was home, they supported me on doing the real estate goal. And then the next year I set a goal of writing a book. Now July 1st, 2017 came around and my book was actually published. I held it in my hands, and when I looked at that book, I set my next goal, which was to make it a #1 national bestseller. Now, in order for me to do that, I needed a large network or a megaphone of people that were going to listen to the things that I was saying. So I did the same thing that I'm doing now, and I dumped everything I possibly could on them, as much value to the people that were around me. And I still continue to do that today because it helped me achieve my dreams and my goals of reaching that #1 bestseller. Now, I would not be able to do this if there wasn't the people out there like yourself watching this video right now. So before we go any further, I have to say, thank you. Thank you for following me on this journey, and thank you for being a part of this mission with me. I will continue to support you in everything that you do going forward because you are continuing to support me, whether you know it or not. So thank you again. I appreciate that. Now, going back to this third time when I reached my goal, the same thing happened, right? There was challenges and hurdles about writing this book because I failed English. I had these mental blocks that I was not able to get past. My network supported me in that decision and allowed me to do it. It's crazy how it all works, but I promise you, if you have a good supportive network, they will actually make your dreams come true. All right, so let's get forward. So that was my G19 group. Well, there's actually a couple other mastermind groups that I also attend. There's actually a total of 4 mastermind groups that I'm a part of. One mastermind group for our business. The other mastermind group is out in Arizona, Genius Networking Group, and these guys are an incredible group of people. They play at a higher level. I only go out to the annual event, but the highest level that I've ever been in, this is just all these entrepreneurs that are doing incredible things. They've taught me so much. And in fact, they were actually where I got the inspiration to write the book. My G19 group was actually the mastermind group that allowed me to actually complete it. So that's 2 of the groups. One of the other groups is out in California. We do mastermind retreats. And this group is very supportive again and helps you reach even higher levels. And one of the things, like the lesson that I learned, like one of the best takeaways that I've learned from this group is, as a business owner or as just a person individually, there are times when you feel like no matter how hard you try, you are not getting any results. You feel stuck. Well, one of the best messages that I've ever learned came from this mastermind group out in Lake Tahoe at a mastermind retreat. And the message was, you are not stuck. You are incubating. Let that sit in for a second. You are not stuck. You are incubating. So no matter where you are at on your journey right now, if you feel like you're not getting results, there's only 1 or 2 things that actually are going to have to unkink in order for you to bust out of the shell that you're in right now. Just a little more time, a little more knowledge, a little more nutrients, right, for your brain to feed you. And then as soon as you get all that stuff in order, you're going to bust out and you're going to reach those higher levels that you are imagining you reaching. So if you feel like you're stuck, you're not. You're just incubating. But again, the reason why this was so important for me is because, again, as entrepreneurs, we feel like from time to time we're not getting results because we're not pushing our financial needle forward. But really what's happening is we're actually just kind of observing what's going on in our life, and we're taking it all in and we're fine-tuning. So even if you're not moving the needle forward, you're still making progress. So don't get too focused on feeling stuck. All right. So if you don't have a network and you don't have anyone to reach out to and you don't have anyone that can hold you accountable and you don't have any of those things, well, here's where I come in, right? So annually, from time to time, I do an annual live event where, again, we'll drop the links below, and you can go over to mitchdurfee.com and you can see these live events, and you can surround yourself with hundreds of people that are on the same level or even higher as you, and that way they can pull you forward and you can support them in their goals, and they will also reach back down and pull you up to where they're at. Right? I highly encourage you to attend one of my live events because you will be surrounded by excellency. I promise you. Now, the other thing that we do is we also do mastermind retreats, right? So again, on mitchdurfee.com, you can see one of my luxury mastermind retreats where 5 to 10 people will go away for a weekend for 4 days, 3-4 days, and we'll sit down and we'll dive deep into the hot seat and we'll figure out what's going on in your business, and we'll figure out how to actually guide you forward so you can reach even bigger levels. Now, if that sounds good to you, again, check out mitchdurfee.com so we can improve your network. Now, if you don't want to go to a mastermind retreat or you don't want to go to a live event, of course, we do always have a Facebook group where you can reach out to me. You can join me on my mitchdurfee.com fan page where you can reach out, leave comments, and connect with other people that are on that group and engaging on that group and asking questions about their business or how I can help them in their real estate. Of course, if you're looking for a real estate network group, you can check out our Real Estate Property Warriors group, which has people that have bought millions of dollars worth of real estate and done incredible things in there and can help guide you through the trenches of real estate. Now, if all these things don't help you, again, going back to when we first wrote down how I'm going to 10x your value for the time that you spend here, how I'm going to guarantee that I'm going to do that, I'm going to share a couple other things right now on how you can improve your network. Now, the first thing that I encourage you to do right now is just picture 5 to 10 people that you can connect with throughout the day. Now, unless you live out in the middle of absolutely nowhere and you have no internet and you have no way to communicate, you wouldn't be able to watch this show right now if you didn't have this. But if that was true and you were living in the middle of, say, Antarctica with no technology forms, then I can't help you. But if you live in the US or if you live anywhere else in the world and you have an internet connection, you can start to connect with people now. Now, on Facebook, again, there's a ton of different groups, right? Whatever that is that you're passionate about, whether it's wedding videography, whether it's real estate, whether it's business growth and development, join one of these groups on Facebook, or even go over to Instagram and search a hashtag for the topic that you're interested in and start to add and follow and connect with these people by figuring out what's important to them, right? You hear what I said there. What's important to them? The best way to connect with someone is to not talk about yourself, but to actually understand what's important to them. The second I realized this, everything else in my life changed dramatically, right? When I became curious about what was important to other people, I was actually able to understand what was going on in their life or in their business, and I was able to offer inputs from what's going on, what happened in my life, or different experiences in my life. Now, the other thing that actually allows me to become this amazing business coach and consultant that I am is because not only do I have experiences from my business, I actually, the hundreds of clients that I've worked with over the years, I actually get to understand what's going on in their business, their hiring challenges, their marketing challenges, just anything that's going on in their business. So I have my experience from my personal businesses that I grew and I was able to grow and sell. And I have experiences from my mastermind groups, right, from all these other members that have the same challenges. And I let them work through the solutions while they're in the hot seat. And I can share those same things with you. So if you need personal one-to-one coaching for your business because maybe one of these groups aren't there, well, I'm here for you too. You can always reach out to me, and I'm happy to have you inside my network or my inner circle. So again, you can check out mitchdurfee.com for more information on that. But for real, that's all there is when it comes down to generating wealth. I hope I dropped out as many value bombs to you as possible. And if not, just let me know in the comment sections and I'll personally message you and I will deliver more and more until you feel like your time was actually well spent here. Because I promise you, again, I made a promise that I would deliver 10x the value for your time. And I promise you that I will always, always do that when it comes to having these videos. So thank you so much for watching this video. Again, let's just do a quick little recap of what we talked about. We talked about in order for you to generate massive amounts of wealth, you have to figure out a business that grows without you there. Now that means either through affiliate marketing, network marketing, or starting your own organization where you can hire a team that can leverage your time. Leveraging your time allows you to create a 5, 10, or 100x multiple on every hour that you spend during the day. Now, the second way to generate massive amounts of wealth, of course, is through real estate. Real estate, you can make income 3 different ways. You can do it on the buy, which is through equity. You can do it through the appreciation, or you can do it through the cash flow or principal pay down. Now, those different ways are going to generate income for you passively. Sometimes you will have to make some phone calls unless you use a property manager. But again, generating massive amounts of income for you for the time that you spend. You spend 40 hours buying a house, and that house works for you for 30 years. 30 years. 40 hours, 1 week's worth of work, 30 years. If you haven't thought about real estate, now is the time to start thinking about it. I promise you, you're going to get some massive gains when it comes to talking about your time and leverage. All right. And finally, one of the most important topics is building a network or joining a mastermind group or creating your own mastermind group of peers that are on the same level or higher than the level that you're playing at currently, people that are going to support you, encourage you, and give you the tools, resources in order for you to be successful. So all these things, three things combined, are going to create a massive amount of wealth, and they're going to generate the income streams and create the lifestyle that you want. So again, make sure that you spend time and you dive down deep into this and actually take action, because nothing happens unless you actually take action. Massive action immediately. Now, I also promised you a gift at the very end, and I'm going to drop that below. I'm going to give you guys a free copy of my #1 national best-selling book, Serve to Win. It's below. You can get it in Audible form, or you can get it the ebook. So you can get that now. And I guess that is all for now. Thank you so much for coming along with this journey, and I look forward to working and serving you again in the future.